Self-driving cars can make cities more livable, sustainable, equitable, and just. Fully autonomous self-driving cars will be available for sale in cities by 2020. They have very different economics than our current cars. There are two possibilities for our autonomous car future: heaven or hell. Holistic and forward-thinking leadership will make all the difference. We get to hell by taking a wait-and-see approach. In this future, people buy AVs instead of today's cars. For trips, once you get to your desired location, it's cheaper to have your empty AV circle the block and drive back home than to pay for parking downtown. The same is true for stores. It's cheaper to have a drugstore car drive to customers than to pay for retail space downtown. Today, 75% of all cars on the road have one occupant, the driver. In the future, as we add more AVs, 50% of the cars will have no people in them. Meanwhile, all the taxi, bus, shuttle, and truck drivers will lose their jobs. And because AVs are electric, don't park, and don't get parking tickets, we lose about 60% of our tax revenue that finances our infrastructure. And our roads and bridges get a whole lot worse. We definitely don't want the hell scenario. We can get to heaven by taking a proactive approach. Over 1 million people in U.S. cities are already car sharing. And in San Francisco, 50% of the people using ride-hailing apps now share their trips with a stranger. Instead of spending $9,000 a year on your own car, when we combine car sharing and ride-hailing and buy a seat in a shared autonomous vehicle, we can get door-to-door transport at the speed of a private car travel for the cost of a subway ticket. Car sharing eliminates the need for parking. Ride sharing reduces congestion. We will only need 10% of the cars we have in cities today, even at peak times. No more on-street parking, no more parking garages. If most of the AVs in cities are shared cars in which people can share trips. We can plant trees, widen sidewalks, put in bike lanes and benches. We can get rid of parking lots and build affordable housing or public parks, or whatever. We could reduce air pollution and CO2 emissions as we move from gas to electric power for our cars. Electric AVs will pay their fair share for road and bridge repair by creating user fees that apply to them. We'll discourage empty zombie cars and make it more expensive to drive than to park. But wait! What about all those people who used to drive, repair cars, pump gas, design and build cars for a living? So, if we want heaven and not hell, we have to start working together to get the right laws and regulations in place now, especially for the first cities that set the example. And just as your head is reeling from the impact and potential of self-driving vehicles, realize that this is just the tip of the big automation iceberg. Automation delivers enormous productivity gains without the associated labor. It's like making honey without the worker bees. We need to figure out how we will distribute this new kind of honey.